want to say how blessed I feel to be chosen to spend your morning of Easter with me. Really, that it's such an honor, really, to have you all make that choice. You know, that really honoring Easter morning with me is first and foremost the greatest blessing that I could ask for. Because as I reflected for myself during this week, when the word resurrection came in for me, which was very very telling, but also very significant for me personally. So I want to start out with a little story. You know, for me, the word resurrection has so many layers of things, because it means, in essence, to come back from the dead. Right? That's the core of what resurrection means. But when you think about it, it's like today's energy in general, right? As we celebrate Christ's resurrection, or Jesus's resurrection, because him as a human being, when he was on this planet, came back to life from the dead. It really is also a symbolic gesture, right? A demonstration, actually, is what he was after. And that demonstration that he, throughout his entire life, which was not even very long, if you think about it, only 33 years of life. I mean, imagine that, you know, we would have all been kind of dead by now. So we have extra time on our hands, and we continue to have extra time on our hands. And that's how I feel. I feel that I have extra time on my hands to create a demonstration. Imagine being born to a mission that you decide to create a demonstration that the entire world will think about and know about. That is today's special meaning and energy. The energy of love that came through what is the word Christ, because Christ is not his name. His name was Jeshua, or, you know, Jesus ben Joseph, which is what his Jewish name was, because he was Jewish, right? So he really wasn't born into what we've created afterwards, which is Christianity, right? He was born as a Jewish boy. So his demonstration was to demonstrate the power of love beyond everything. That really was the purpose of his lifetime, and the purpose of his death and his resurrection. And throughout his entire lifetime, he would say, you can do this too, right? His words were always, what I do, you can do, right? And I have my entire life collected crosses, right? As you know, I have a beautiful altar of crosses from every place that I've visited on this beautiful planet, right? And I don't even know when it started. Like I for some reason, I started collecting crosses, and it's not because I'm like some devout religious person and I have to actually create a demonstration myself to others that I am this religious person. That is not where it was coming from at all. For me, and this altar that I've had for so many years, that is in the entrance to my bedroom, right? For me, it's a reminder. It's a daily reminder as I walk in and out of my sanctuary daily, that my mission is to be as close to the Christian, not Christian, to the Christ mind as possible. The Christ mind. What does that mean? That means that you are anointed with the knowingness of the love of God. That's what that means. It doesn't mean, that's why Jesus was not named Jesus Christ for the purpose of, we don't really know that knowledge. Like we always say the Christ, Jesus Christ, but it's actually Christ mind. It's the Christo. It's the purity of love in its fullest expression within you. Okay? That's the message of resurrection that I'm bringing to the table today. And this week, as I saw Zoraida, which I know she's on the call. Zoraida this week told me a story, which Zoraida, I hope you don't mind that I share it. We that she had this moment this week that she had to go to a funeral, and therefore she had to go to a mass, right? She went to a church and experienced the typical mass that those of us that were born into this Catholic religion, or more or less a Christian religion, are familiar with the mass, right? And all of its rituals and all of its things. And she was expressing how, let me see if I use the right words. She says that being awake is really challenging. That everything bothered her because it was so like it didn't have the depth that even, for example, we might be able to reach in these calls on Sunday, right? Like we have depth here. I love the depth that we express when we are together on this call, okay? Because we take a moment out of our week to find who we really are and express it as a group. This is a huge blessing. And that, I think, was the idea that Jesus had, is to gather people together and show them their truth and their awakening through love, to wake them up. Okay? That is what resurrection is. It's designed to wake you up. But I guess the hardest part about waking up is that once you're awake, you don't go back to sleep. Once you're awake and you know the truth of yourself and you know the truth that love brings, you are almost responsible, just like Jesus was on a mission of responsibility throughout his entire lifetime, to teach and to uplift and to love. Always, no matter what, whether you're being nailed to the cross. So our mission, once we are awake or resurrected, because that's what I feel that we are doing here, we are waking up to what we really are. And that wake-up call is huge, because you may believe that you are just one individual and you do not have any power, but that could not be further from the truth. The truth is that you have all of the power of love of God within you, all of it, not a little bit, all of it. And it is through your personal demonstrations daily that you express that love. You express your Christian nature. You become the Christ in demonstration and in unity, because the whole point of his resurrection is to prove that there is no such thing between a separation between you and your God and who you really are. There is no such thing as separation. You are not separate from God. You are one with God. You are the I am. Okay? You are. So as we take up that torch of responsibility and we resurrect ourselves, we in turn awaken others with that love and energy as well. And we will be tested just like he was. He was tested over and over again to continue on the mission and the path of resurrection. And I, for one, feel that I have been brought to this place right here, right now. And I couldn't be more on purpose and on mission. And every day I pray to be on that purpose and that mission, even if sometimes I will fall, even if sometimes I'm not as kind as I would like to be, even if sometimes I feel anger or fear. I find my way back home to the love of my own self, which is the self within me that is Christ. Just like you have that Christ within you. I was reading from a book that I was given by Yvette Almeida, who hasn't been on the call for a while, but she gave me two beautiful books that I read, not completely, but on and off. And I went to it because it is a book produced, it's called The Way of Mastery. And that has always intrigued me because when I was a very young girl, I read a book called The Mystic Masters. I still have it. I was very, very young. And that book impacted me. And it was a lot of similar teachings. And it was about mastery. You know, you could call, and there have been many masters that have grown to be not just Jesus, because in this book is supposedly channeled. It's channeling Jesus. Now, those of you who believe in channeling, or those who may not believe in channeling, there's a lot of beautiful information out there that has been channeled. Similarly, there's A Course in Miracles. That is the other book that Yvette gave me, which is, I mean, when you read these books, there is no way that you could not believe in channeling. Because sometimes it says, and I believe that the Bible was a channeled resource. I mean, the Bible, which is the one that is the most popular throughout our world, was channeled, just like the Torah as well. You know, these books are, when you read them, you recognize that the words that are on the page are not necessarily, you don't even know how they could come from someone that is a human form, right? And that is the energy behind this book. And I was reading it, and something really struck me in the words of the power of our lineage, okay? Meaning that we are not alone here. And I've spoken about having our ancestry within us, right? We carry a lineage that comes from all of our ancestors, not just the ancestors of our human family, but the ancestors of our spiritual family. Our spiritual family, and if you have this belief, which I believe most of us on this call do, that this is an eternal, that we are eternal beings, that we are just spiritual beings having a human experience and not the other way around. If you believe these things and these things are truth to you, you understand that the body is a temporary vessel for our soul. And you understand that every soul that departs reconnects and goes home to the lineage and ancestry. This week, Florinda lost her uncle. But I've always known that she's been guided. I've always known that her family and her ancestry are very connected to her. And if you believe these truths, you can use the power of your ancestry and your lineage, whether you choose to call Jesus in, or whether you choose to call Mother Mary in, or whether you choose to call Saint Germain or any of the archangels. This is your lineage. These are your ancestors. They are still alive and well and resurrected. They are just not in human form. That's all. we can use their energy to help us and guide us in the deepest moments when we feel the responsibility and the burden of the weight that we carry as human beings is as heavy as the cross was for Jesus. And we can act accordingly. And we can use the strength of their resources and their light and their love to guide us on our way when we don't see clearly. I heard this week something too, which struck me. You know, a lighthouse doesn't run around trying to shed light on the ships. Okay? A lighthouse stays firmly put on the ground, shining brightly, so that the ships find their way. That's what we are. We are lighthouses. And the brighter we shine every day, the brighter we shine, the more strongly we become as one, holding our ground and showing ships the way. This is the mission, guys. This is the mission. Whether your religion is Jewish or Muslim, whether you were born to an Indian heritage, it doesn't matter. It's all the same language. All of it is the same language. So I'll read a few passages that I highlighted because they struck me. It says, I want then to invite you in this lesson to recognize that it is not just Jeshua ben Joseph who has manifested the fullness of the Christ mind, but there are a host, a heavenly host. Have you ever heard of the host? How they call the Eucharist the host? Why would they call that, right? Why would they call it the host? Because it hosts the energy. It hosts the energy of our ancestors and our lineage. That's where all the language came from within the Jewish Torah and even the New Testament, taken over, by the way, by something called Christianity. These are the words in this book which struck me, which is not something I know much about, since I am indeed, or was, a man, a Jew. But beyond that, I am of the strand of light expressing itself through the tradition of the Jewish family. And all of this has been by perfect design of God. It is not the only strand. There are others, yes, universal strands that encompass the entirety of the human experience. All souls have their lineage. There are strands expressed through that which is called India. There are strands expressed through that which is called the Tibet. There are strands of lineages that extend themselves through the South Americas. There are strands or lineages that have extended themselves through the North American Indians. All of these strands of light are the same. And it's interesting because some of you may have an affinity towards one or another due to your physical lineage in the past and past lives that you have experienced. I know that Maritza has decided to pursue her Peruvian roots. And she's always been attracted to the shamans. In fact, in her wedding, she had a shaman blessing everyone. But you know what's interesting is that she converted to Judaism. So she's a Jew. Let's put it this way, Maritza's all over the place, but I love her because it's all blended into one energy for her. All blended into one energy for her. And we are one big blend as well. We are expressing ourselves through the same energy of our lineage and our ancestors. So today I honor my lineage and my ancestry as a Catholic, even though, like I said, I've never been attracted to it in the dogma that it creates. I went deeper for myself, even as a young girl, trying to find my way to my own awakening and my own resurrection, which I believe came quite a few years ago. And I have been on this mission ever since. I invite you to do the same. I invite you to stay awake, to commit yourself to the mission of staying awake and the fullest responsibility of being the beacons of light that I know you are. You are indeed taking up your place at the right hand of God. You know the phrase in your language, the right hand man or the right hand woman? It means one who is in alignment and acts only to fulfill the will of the one in charge. It's a beautiful phrase, and it expresses right-mindedness, right? Therefore, understand well that what will be coming in our future days and weeks and months and years together is a growing body of those maturing in the way of the Christ mind, maturing in the level of commitment because they will come to see the extraordinary role that they are playing in a much bigger picture than their own personal lives. We are not here to be in survival mode. We are not here to gain things and put money in our bank, although we know we must. That is not what we're here for. I'm here to inspire you to go deeper, to believe in the truth of yourself, to understand that fear is the only thing that holds you back, that love has the power to conquer everything and everyone, and that even when things look gloomy, that you can look through gratitude and appreciation to the light of love. And you can send love to those that seem loveless or that are unlovable. I know that's hard. And I know that that mission is huge, is a huge burden, but it's possible. So as you transfigure your humanity, you are transfiguring the energy field of humankind, pure and simple. You are incarnating Christ into the world. You are resurrecting and awakening the dead into life eternal. This is what we're here for. So as we go about our days, in our daily life, doing our daily things, earning our daily bread, as we do that, let's do it with a sacredness of today. Let's do it together with the sacredness of Christ mind. That's what today is for. That is why every year we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. Because it reminds us that we are on the same path and we are on the same mission. And I don't know about you, but this mission has brought me more fulfillment and joy than you can possibly imagine. I can't describe it. I couldn't even put a value to it. That's how it feels to me to be on this mission with all of you. And I hope that you can inspire others the same way. Today, as we take a moment to be with our families and celebrate with them, ponder more deeply to who you've become. how far you've come, how fully awake you have become. You have grown to a place that there's no turning back. At least that's how I feel. I can't be the person that I was before. I feel fully resurrected in my path. And I hope that all of you will feel the same way as you grow and learn every day to be more Christ-like. It's not an easy mission, by the way. It's not an easy mission. There are moments, as we know, that we will be tested. But if you stay on this path, I promise you that just the energetic value that you bring to the table will bring so many rewards that are beyond your understanding. And miraculously, because Florinda and I practice miracles all the time. We see if we're like, okay, we need a miracle. Miracles will show up in your life. Miracles like the resurrection. So today, I hope I've inspired you. I feel incredibly honored that you chose me to spend these few minutes in this sacred time, on this sacred day. Happy Easter, everybody.